Welcome to Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. I'm your host, Liz Fabian from the Center for Collaborative Journalism. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Mayor. You know, at the last County Commission board meeting, they passed the $211 million budget plan that you had. Can you recap some of the highlights for us?
Well, I think one of the most important things people always look at is our millage rate. Even though we haven't voted on the final millage rate yet, we already kind of calculated some information and realized that we could cut the millage rate again. So we reduced the millage rate to 9.9, which is a slight cut from last year, and we'll revisit that again in August. We also increased our other things like employee raises, starting with the Sheriff's Department across the board. For those who haven't received the raise in the last year, we did a minimum of 6% raises for everyone. We continue to spend more money on public safety, more money on beautification, and certainly beefed up the departments that need it the most. So I think our budget speaks to what we're doing, the core values that we have, and making our community a safer place to live. Economic development is always a key there, as well as beautification.
Of course, also at that meeting, y'all agreed to hire a round-the-clock cybersecurity firm with an annual contract. How does that differ from what was in place before?
Well, we were doing some things internally, and I think we were looking at, getting notifications as opposed to having somebody there watching it the whole time. So it's something that we've been looking at doing for a while, and certainly with the situation we had here recently, it put it more to the top. And we've also learned best practices from all across the United States on doing that, so it's something we thought we would do as well.
And of course, also at that meeting, y'all were talking about hiring a new IT director and maybe some other technicians. So did those vacancies occur around the time of that incident in May, or was that pre-incident, or how did those vacancies come about?
Well, you always have vacancies in that department. IT is very competitive. A lot of times private companies can pay more than a local government can pay, so it's difficult to get people to stay with you for a long period of time. So our IT director left shortly before the situation that we had, but certainly not tied to our problems that we had there. But we're always looking to field our employees with good quality folks, and so we're always on the lookout for the best and the brightest.
And I understand you're also looking for a new HR director, and I looked on the website to see if I could see that job posting or even the IT postings. I didn't see it. So is all of that back up and running normally now, your county website, for things like jobs and procurement? And
as far as I know, we're still day by day, but everything appears to be working properly and smoothly now. Our HR director, we have an interim HR director right now, Javita Turner. She's doing a wonderful job. She also served as interim before when we had our last one a few years ago. The same thing with IT director. We have an IT director, Dr. Moffitt's been sitting in there, but we have two people doing a good quality job there, and we feel very comfortable about the situation we're in right now.
I think tongue-in-cheek they were talking about that security measure as the county manager anti-anxiety act.
That's right.
But also I noticed when I was looking on the procurement site that some of those deadlines for submission were pushed back, I imagine because of things weren't all in place due to the cyber incident. But there's the Rosa Parks renovation on there as well. And I was just kind of wondering if those bids come in higher than the money that's already been earmarked for that project. Do you have a plan to fund Rosa Parks Square?
Well, we always have a plan. If we got something that's a priority, we'll make sure that gets met. I suspect we can always value engineer some things as well. Sometimes things come in higher than we expect them. For whatever reason, we go back to the drawing board to kind of select the person and go back and get some better pricing on some things. So Rosa Parks Square is going to happen. We're going to make sure that happens. We're going to get a good quality bidder on that, and we're going to begin the work just as soon as we can. Also, during that meeting, Mayor Pro Tem Seth Clark wanted to clarify that the CEA, the Community Enhancement Authority, was not going to get any more funding, at least right now, for the Little Richard House, but you have a management firm in place. What's going to happen there? Well, right now we don't have a management firm in place. We're considering several options. Someone has already taken over the Booker T. Washington the last several months. It's doing real well. Right now with the Little Richard House and the other parks that go with it, the Jefferson Lawn, the Linear Park, those are being maintained by companies we were already contracted to do business with from the county. And we're taking our time to make sure the options are correctly on who's going to run the Little Richard House. It's a valuable resource to the community. We're going to make sure that it stays open. Right now it's got a little downtime, but we'll make sure that we fund that properly. We just really need to get a financial, snapshot of what's been going on there over the last several years. We'll have some outside investigations pending on that, so we'll look forward to what happens on the financial audit in the near future.
And of course, our partner at the Murphy Center for Collaborative Journalism, Civic Fellow Laura Corley, has been investigating the Community Enhancement Authority for months now, and she just recently filed part 1 of her series about the fact that the Community Enhancement Authority really can't account for the millions of dollars that it was given to impact Pleasant Hill that way, no financial audits. Isn't that part of the reason that y'all sort of stopped giving them the money?
Well, that's the main reason. I had to make a very tough decision last December to stop the funding there because we simply could not get the monthly reports. We couldn't get the audits. You know, the number's going to say what they say. We gave a little break to them because after COVID, it became difficult for, you know, accounting firms got behind. It became difficult for a lot of people to do their audit. Even the county had some brief delays. So we understand that. It's just the nature of the business. Gave them a little extra time, but at some point in time, we got to have those numbers. We also fielded a bunch of complaints from people that live in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood, whether they're organizations or people that live in houses there that they feel like was improperly maintained and upkept, and a lot of evictions were going on. So we just had too many complaints to ignore, and finally I made the decision, even during election time, to discontinue the funding there and see what shakes out.
And they said they really don't have money even for that audit. So you mentioned something about outside criminal investigation. So do you think there's some malfeasance that was operating in that organization?
Well, I hate to get ahead of that, but I certainly think there's some commingling that was going on. If you go to the simple tax records there, the property records, you can see there's a lot of property going in and out of hands of people that are closely associated with that. It always draws a red flag. Doesn't necessarily mean there's something going on there, but I suspect that there will be something that we find after an audit. You know, most people want to do an audit to show that they're clean, how well they're doing to get continued funding. Sometimes when you avoid the audit situation, that's a red flag saying that something's wrong here. And I think in this particular situation, things are not going to really add up like they're supposed to.
And you mentioned Booker T. Washington. I think maybe that's where I got confused because I thought you had been trying to identify managers for both properties. But what really takes place now at the Booker T. Washington Center?
It's a community resource center. A lot of our nonprofits are housed there. We have our mental health over there as well. We've got some music there through the Eric Foundation. We've got the Pay Center for Girls. And of course, at the same time, in the lower level, we have the outside activity for the children there with the sports there, but also the pool is taken care of by the county through our recreation department. So it's a great venture for the neighborhood. It gives a chance for some less expensive rent there to help maintain the place, but really just nonprofits that help the organization succeed over there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, when we come back, we'll talk about the mayor's plans for road improvements, and we'll also discuss the Bibb County school system, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition for this month. Mr. Mayor, while the county wants to roll back and is intending to roll back the millage rate, the Board of Education is still maybe poised to raise taxes and plans to hire another high-dollar consultant maybe to look at school closing. So what are your thoughts as mayor of this community and a three-time school board president?
Well, I always have a lot of opinions, and certainly you get what you pay for those opinions sometimes, but having been in that seat before, it's a tough situation. I'm still great friends with many of the school board members, most of all the school board members, and we have conversations from time to time. It's hard work to do, and I don't envy the things they have to do, but at the same time, I'm always worried that people, when they have financial difficulties with especially any government agency, the first inclination is always to run right to raising taxes. I think that's a mistake. I think there's some cuts that could be done on either side to get things done ahead of time. You got to be able to foresee those problems, anticipate those, and make the cuts so you don't have to raise the taxes. But I'm also a firm believer if you do all the cuts you need to do, like when I followed Dallemon, we did all kind of cuts. We stopped the travel, we froze positions, we ripped employees, we went to different bus schedules. We did all these things to make sure we consolidated schools. And in the end, if we still could not make ends meet, then you look at potential tax increases. But that's the only time you do that. And it starts in the classroom. You focus all your money in the classroom, not on high dollar positions, especially for people that are brought in from outside Macon-Bibb County.
course, again, our civic fellow Laura Corley also recently reported that Superintendent Dan Sims appeared to be caught off guard a little bit at the state board meeting, which characterized the school system as going backwards. And he couldn't speak off the top of his head about the low performing schools on the federal list. Were you surprised by that?
Well, again, Dr. Sims is a leader of that organization. Don't want to necessarily say anything negative about it. It did catch me a little bit by surprise and not having that information, being the chief person in that area there. I know that he's had some recent challenges in his own household, so I certainly don't fault him for not having everything readily available. Quite honestly, the school board, state school board, felt differently on that. I did go back and watch the video. It was not the best shining point for Bibb County school system on that particular occasion, but it's something that we got to be concerned about. It shows that we're in some areas digressing, and I'm not sure what that's happening there for the school system. So hopefully they can get a handle on that, and we can continue to, focus on those gains that we've had over the last several years.
And now, switching to roads, they're on the mind of Jerry Smith, who brought up Joe Tamplin Industrial Boulevard. He said that between Okmulgee East and Riggins Mill, it's like you could destroy your car. I know that's a little bit hyperbolic, but what are your plans for that road and others in the community?
Well, Joe Tamplin's already been approved to pave there, and the reason it hasn't been done yet because we had a brand new couple of facilities out there. If you look at the large Agile plant that we have out there, Agile stores, we didn't want to put a brand new road there and then have a lot of trucks for construction and everything going over there. So we look at those roads that create economic development opportunities and take care of the existing businesses, but at the same time looking at residential roads. So we have a plan to spend $50 million in the next SPLOST on roads, bridges. 50 $50 million. Be the largest single investment in these types of roads that we've ever had. We think people have been asking for it, screaming for it at the top of their lungs, and we're going to give that to them. We're going to give them an opportunity at least to vote on that in the next SPLOST, and I think it'll be successful.
And how will you go about identifying which roads need to be repaired and should have priority?
We have a multifaceted approach. We'll use a robotics program similar to what we did last time to update all the roads that we've repaired since then, community engagement, community input, and also we'll use traffic studies because some roads are more traveled than others. We've also had new businesses come into areas that have a heavy truck, so we have to be concerned about that. So we're going to work with the GDOT as well as our local engineers to make sure that's going to be successful. But we're going to get a lot of feedback from the community. We've already got a long list from community. I keep telling them it's on the list, and it is on the list because we made some good improvement, but we're playing catch up from the last 2 decades.
Are there any updates from GDOT on other projects in our community that you could share?
Not sure about any updates. There's a lot of things going on. Eventually we'll get this I-16 corridor taken care of. I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule on the roundabouts that we've got going on in several parts of our community. And Bass Road continues to be one of those talking points that we have there. So I'm excited about the progress that we've made there. I think it's going to help improve that area. I'm also excited about some things that are going to go on Eisenhower Parkway too. We've got some great things going to be happening there. GDOT's working as a partner with that, and that's been in the works for a while with some sidewalks and some traffic calming as well.
I was up in Atlanta recently and was surprised to find landscaped roundabouts coming off of 285 on the Riverside Drive exit. And I understand that the plan now for Bass Road is to have roundabouts on each side there of the I-75 interchanges. Is that what you understand? It's kind of like the reverse diamond pattern that seems kind of confusing.
That's exactly what it is, and it's been shown to be successful everywhere. Of course, it looks like nicer. It'll help speed up the situation that we have out in Bass Road. We've got about 3 of those coming actually on Bass Road right there at least, and you have another one or two coming on Eisenhower Parkway as well.
All the roundabouts, right? Yes, because I remember when they first talked about putting in a roundabout when you get off of 75 at Eisenhower. It's like, how is that going to work? But I did it in Atlanta, and it seemed to be easy.
It's been proven to work.
Okay. Also, do you have any ideas about when it comes to the paving and such? This time of year, I would imagine, is not the time to be fixing roads, right?
Well, it's hot, but I mean, asphalt plants are asphalt plants. We don't own one, that's why we can't really go out and do the proper repairs that we need to do, so we have to rely on others. One thing we are going to consider is trying to make it easier for more companies to get involved. Right now, we're kind of hamstrung because only certain big companies can do these large projects, and then from time to time they get pulled off our projects to do big roads for the state. So we're going to make it more easy, accessible, change the policies a little bit so more people can get involved in paving residential roads.
And speaking of transportation, Big things happening at the Middle Georgia Regional Airport. What's the next step in building your guitar-shaped FBO?
Well, first thing we got to do is get rid of the old one. So next week you should get some announcement that we're going to tear down we've awarded the contract to Sheridan Construction to do the demolition of the old low aviation FAA building there. That's going to be a great demolition, but also what's going to replace that's going to be something awesome. I mean, all the people in the state of Georgia are already talking about it. They're jealous. They're envious of what we got going on. We're going to put our RFP out there in the next 60, 90 days, and we're going to hopefully select the best builder that can build that thing, and it's something we're all going to be proud of. Hope to be completed by the end of next year.
Who is responsible for that design? Did you have a concept of it, or
Well, I think a lot of us involved in it with Doug at the airport, but Julie Moore in particular, our assistant county manager, fell in love with the guitar. We were looking at the music theme anyway, so I'd say she was the first person that brought that to my attention and really liked that one. We looked at several different models through the design process, and I think we all fell in love with that one the best because I think it signifies what we're about in Macon and what we're going to, and it kind of part of our branding.
Everybody talks about the guitar, but if you look closely too around the sides, there are different things to make it look like piano keys. So we're looking forward to that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. And thank you for staying with us, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about why Macon again has made a list of the top places to visit in our country. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us on our Ask Mayor Miller edition of Central Georgia Focus. You know, Mr. Mayor, CNN's travel guide lists Macon as number 7 on its list of best towns to visit. Any thoughts on that today?
Well, a lot of thoughts, really. It's not like it hasn't happened before. Multiple national organizations are recognizing the great benefits we have in our community. So CNN is just another one of those. You know, when it first came out, I knew that we'd have some people in our community like, oh no, not CNN, because you have detractors and you have people who support it, and it's all about the politics, but people have to separate the politics. This is no political organization endorsing Macon-Bibb County. It's just the leisure section, the travel section of that. And we're proud of it. I mean, it goes to all the great hard work that Visit Macon is doing with Gary Wheat and his staff. The Main Street recognition we got recognized here recently with Emily and Josh and the Urban Development Authority doing their parts. And you know, with our music heritage, with the amphitheater, the pickleball, we got a lot of wonderful things going on in our community. Capricorn, the Big House, you name it. Otis Redding Foundation. So we're on the map again. We're going to take advantage of it each and every day. And it never hurts to have some great things said about you. I can tell you, I was at GMA, Georgia Municipal Association conferences last weekend, and they were all talking about the AJC article talking about Macon, the front page on a Sunday paper. The CNN story came out about how it's the best place to visit, and had a lot of mayors getting a little jealous about Mayor Miller over here in Macon. And I just tell them we got a great team. You can't have any of those people here, and we're the center of the state. And we're going to be the center of the universe very soon.
I confess I haven't seen the list. Were we the only Georgia city? Or?
You know, I don't look at everybody else in Georgia. Just look at where we're at. I know we're in top 10, and certainly we continue to have our challenges in other areas, and we're always going to have that. But Visit Macon is spot on, and we're doing wonderful things there. And this next splash next year, you're going to see some more monies put towards things like that, and we're really going to start to take off.
Sounded like at the last meeting that Commissioner Lucas might have been a little surprised that Visit Macon was so involved in scheduling tournaments for the pickleball rhythm and rally. How is all that setting up, and how is that an important piece of the tool when it comes to visitors and tourists?
Well, it's an important piece to our people in our city in particular, because you remember we passed the OLAS, that other local option sales tax. That additional penny goes to roll your taxes back. So the more people we can get and the more money we can get coming into our community for great events like this, the less expensive it's going to be to live here. And people are starting to recognize that with their millage rate decrease. So educating the commissioners, so sometimes sometimes the part-time employees, we're inside baseball every day. We go to all the urban development, we read all the materials there. You're always there, Industrial Authority. So people get invites, and sometimes we have to get reminded about the wonderful things and the partners we have, because we certainly couldn't do it all by ourselves.
And of course, the amphitheater too has been going great guns, but will it cool off a little bit as we're getting into the heat of the summer? I mean, do you have as many events scheduled for the summers you might do when the weather might be more palatable to stay outside?
I think so. I think we'll start to increase. We're just in year one. Year two is going to probably be twice as good as we have in year one. And we had a fabulous edition the other night with Jelly Roll. Got a chance to meet Jelly Roll myself backstage. Sold a lot of tickets in a short period of time with him being here. But it's just a taste of things that's going to happen in the future. We got some great concerts coming up in July and August. And I can tell you we got a couple more we're going to announce for October very soon. And I think it's really going to put us on the map again for our music heritage. And I think people are going to really appreciate the venue.
Now, was that a planned surprise to have Jelly Roll, or did it just kind of work out? Because I understand like it wasn't announced until like maybe 20 minutes before the event or something like that.
It wasn't 20 minutes, but it's the day of. It's been kind of in the works for a while behind the scenes. We certainly couldn't say anything about it. We didn't have direct information that it was going to happen until a few hours before on that day. But once it happened, and it went viral. And a lot of people that are out of town certainly missed a good show. But good news is I had some private conversations with him myself and strongly encouraged him. He loved the venue and he wants to come back to Macon, and I think it's a great possibility to do a full show with him. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do you ever think we'll get to a point where we have an artist spend a couple of nights at the amphitheater back to back because they can't get so many folks in, aka Jason Aldean?
Well, I can see that happen. Like, you look at some things like Chris Stapleton, sometimes he plays a couple, 2 or 3 times in a row. Of course, it's no secret that I like Widespread Panic a little bit, and I think they traditionally play 2 or 3 shows in a row. Fish is another one of those. So I think we'll have some multiple concerts. We're probably going to hook up several festivals in our way too, so we can have multiple music ventures night after night. So I can't wait to get the numbers. We kind of lag behind on the numbers, but as soon as we get those numbers in, we're going to share them with the public to show you how much money, how much economic impact, how many visitors are coming to Macon just because of the great things we got going on at the mall. But the National Park will be another big position that we have in the very near future.
Middle Georgia Regional Commission has just moved over to the mall from Emory Highway. If you had your dream development, what do you think should take place at that old Zayres Kroger shopping center there near Interstate 16 and 2nd Street?
The old Zayres shopping center.
I go back a long way.
You're talking about up the street, Eisenhower towards I-75, or you're talking about that old Target location?
Wasn't there Zayre in that shopping center back
across
in the 70s?
Across where Kroger was, where the flea market is?
No, I'm talking about I-16, 2nd Street, where Regional Commission.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
that old Zayres.
I know what I want to go there. We certainly can't talk about that yet, but once again, you'll see some great things in the future, and I can't wait to talk about that very soon.
Okay, well, Timothy asks about open land on Rocky Creek Road that he believes is prime for development. It could bring shops closer to the people who don't have vehicles. He's talking about the land kind of up from the post office, because you kind of come off and then all of a sudden, there's land. Have you ever heard of anybody talking about maybe some development there?
Well, you just had an $80 million investment there with Coca-Cola. You've got some wetlands right there you can't build on, but you've also got about 300 homes going right across that bridge there on Jennifer Drive. So I think you have a lot of development after you get those houses there. It is an untapped resources, and people need something on that side of town as well. So I think after the houses get built, employees start to come to those businesses over there, you'll see some more development spur in that area as well.
You mentioned GMA, Georgia Municipal Association. Anything else that you could share that your mayors from across the state are talking about, issues they're facing, or anything that might be relevant here?
They continue to talk about the opioid issues we have. I was on a panel yesterday on myself about the mental health needs that we have in our state, and I want to advocate for more mental health treatment, more funds, and hopefully a couple more hospitals in Georgia like we used to have. Also, affordable housing was one topic, and I presented on a panel with our Macon Violence Prevention Program. So we're continuing to talk about those things that affect each and every county and city in Georgia. So we can work together in a collaborative effort, I think, do the best practices and help everybody out.
And this program is to talk about all the issues that are affecting you. So remember, please send your questions for Mayor Miller to mercerccj@gmail.com, and we will get you some answers the next time we meet. Thank you for staying with us. Have a great day.